Hello there, you are welcome to Newspaper Review on Niger Live TV, reaching you from Bielsa's capital city, Yanagwa. My name is Barbie Mkparu and I'm joined by...
Glad Yakie.
As you know, Newspaper Review is your daily press review, as we will be checking out headlines making the papers. Let's quickly begin with the Nation newspaper. Supreme Court sends Mark-led ADC NWC back to High Court. Now that's a whole lot going on in the African Democratic Congress, as the Supreme Court have now sent the David Mark-led National Working Committee of the party back to High Court.
Well, it's an important development for the ADC. For David Mark, is a little bit of a boost for him because at least temporarily he's been recognized by the Supreme Court as the leader of the ADC temporarily, because there was a status quo that was ordered by the Court of Appeal earlier with the ADC that actually, you want to say, essentially froze the leadership of the ADC, where they did not recognize David Mark nor any other person to be the leader. So for now, at least temporarily, David Mark has been recognized on a temporary basis as the leader of the ADC. So it's a big boost for him, but it's still on a temporary basis. So the case is still pending. What's the outcome of the federal court, because they've been referred to the federal high court for another ruling. So depending on what the federal high court rules, but it's a big development, at least big boost for David Mark.
All right, do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's move on. Tinubu picks Tegbe Babalola for power sector. That's quite a story. Do well to read through its details. Let's move on to the Vanguard newspaper. On the Vanguard newspaper, we have Supreme Court okays ADC's Mark and Axis PDP's to Yakie. That's
still with regards to the ADC recognition of David Mark, and for Yakie, in as much as they recognize David Mark, for Yakie, he's actually been de-recognized at this point, because for the PDP, they did hold a convention in November 2025 in which Yakie was actually recognized as the leader, but for that convention, they went on with the convention without getting, should I say, recognition or permission from the Supreme Court. And so the ruling, I think it was 3-2, they ruled that whatever decisions were made during that convention is void. So they have to carry out a fresh convention to get rulings or decisions for the party. So it's actually a big blow. While Mark is gaining, for Yakie, it's actually a blow to him.
Sadly, yeah. So do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details. Another headline here: Remi Tinubu rolls out 1.2 billion naira and 100 trucks of rice for vulnerable northern families.
It's a bit of a relief for those that are actually going through a lot, especially in northern parts of the country. And 1.2 billion, it sounds like an awful lot, but hopefully, if it's used well, it's going to at least relieve a lot of people because of the stress and the tensions that's really going on, especially in the northeast of the country.
Very true.
For the trucks and trucks of rice, 100 trucks, is only a temporary relief. Hopefully they will bring out more projects that will remove people from the hardship that they're currently facing on a permanent basis.
Yeah, so a good commendable one from the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let's move on to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, we have airlines struggle as losses hit 150 billion naira in 2 months. That's quite a whole lot going on still in regards to the jet air, the increase in fuel prices well. Exactly. So, but we hope that soonest would be able to come out from all of these struggles, because the airlines are one of the safest means to travel by.
Of course, it is. But it's more expensive, so only a few Nigerians are privileged enough to travel by air. But with the prices of the fuel and all that, it's still devastating the full aviation sector. So it's very tense what is really going on in the country. But hopefully, the country where everyone is going to bounce back from this.
Very true. All right, so moving on to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper, we have clarity, uncertainty as Supreme Court reshapes opposition ahead of 2027.
Still in regards to the developments within the
ADC
and the PDP,
of
Yakie
course.
and David Mark.
Very true. All right, another story here, another headline rather. Sanu Nasu embark on indefinite strike today.
Wow, on Workers' Day.
On Workers' Day.
Wow, that's huge.
So from the public holiday to just
continue staying at home. So it's really unfortunate because for Sanu and Nasu, they've actually been talking with the federal government, trying to see if they could reach a resolution, but it seems like they've been deadlocked for a long time, and this is something that continues because it's really difficult when you talk about staffs of universities, how they really cope. There's really a lot of prices are on the rise, and almost everything has increased in Nigeria, but let's still talk about the fact that salaries tend to remain the way it is. It doesn't necessarily meet up the rate of increment, so it's really hard for the lecturers and all that, but I think they have to also consider the students as well, because at the end of the day, these are the ultimate victims. So hopefully the federal government will try and meet to their demands.
Yeah, thank you for that very smart analysis. Let's move on to the Nigeria Tribune. The Nigeria Tribune newspaper. We see a headline here. NNPC completes $700 million OB3 gas pipelines river and Niger crossing. Quite a story there. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details. Ekiti workers stage thank you walk for Oyebanji's second term. Okay, to see that a sitting president have workers,
a sitting
governor rather. Thank you for that.
So on Workers' Day, they've dedicated their time to stage a walk. To appreciate him. It means he's really doing a good job with regards to workers' rights. Maybe not everyone would agree, of course. But for if that's really the situation, it's definitely doing something right.
Kudos to the governor. All right, moving on to the Leadership newspaper. A headline here: 2027 Nigerian women rally behind Tinubu. So in regards to the 2027 general elections, we're now having Nigerian women, I mean not all, but most, that's why it's making the news, and now rallying behind the second term
I doubt
of
you will say, I doubt it to be accurate to use the word most in this situation as well.
Okay, so some women.
Yeah, some, I guess it will be more accurate to use the word some in this case.
All right, so do well to read the details of that story. Let's move on to this day newspaper. David Mark-led ADC gets a lifeline at Supreme Court and PDP falls. Sad one there. I mean, we've been talking about
one win, one loss,
exactly. So, but the court has the final say. So we believe their judgment was fair enough. We would want to believe that. Let's move on to the Blueprint newspaper. Operational disturbance at Egbin cause of reduced power generation. NISO. Okay, quite a story there. We see one tragic. Okay, we see a story here that troops killed 201 terrorists, arrested 284 leaders and collaborators in April. DHQ. Okay, that's.
I would say it's a good development, because where the terrorists have actually been on the should I say on the front line for a long time. So it's good to see headlines where it's the terrorists that's actually now the casualties in this case. But of course, it's not really telling you about the losses from the military side. This is only the losses on the part of the terrorists for April. Yeah. So a lot of soldiers actually lost their lives. There was also the general that's also died last month as well. So it's still good that at least the military is also carrying out operations that's also resulting to the deaths of some of these terrorists as well. So this is something that we want to see more. Maybe the numbers should be even higher coming up. Or
so that
you look at the numbers, hopefully at least for you want to ensure that you're not going to be killing innocent people, because we just don't want the numbers to be high and then innocent people are also a large part of that, because they think they carried out an airstrike in was it in Adamawa or Borno State, where it was in Gili Market, was it?
Okay, yes.
Where it was said that some innocent people actually died in that operation. So we want to avoid those situations where more innocent people will also be killed as well. But I think if terrorists are being killed, it's actually a welcome development.
All right, so do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that. Let's move on to the Daily Independent paper. Opposition in chaos as Supreme Court orders ADC retrial as PDP turmoil escalates. I mean, the ADC, APC, the ADC, PDP news, it's everywhere in regards to the Supreme Court judgment. Keep yourself informed. We have another story here. Stakeholders warn against proposed raw cashew export ban. All right, quite a story. Keep yourself informed. Let's move on to the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun, we see Labour marks May Day as federal government declares holiday. So it's Workers' Day today, 1st May. Sorry about that. So
you're still sticking to April.
So yes, unfortunately, media houses don't go on
a holiday. We have to keep breaking news.
Of course, news can never fail. There's always something. There's always a development. There's always a story to tell. So that's that in regards to the public holiday declared by the federal government on behalf of workers. Let's move on to the Daily Trust newspaper. Workers' Day. How much work is being done? Okay, quite. That's a question that we see there. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details.
It's almost like he's questioning the efforts of the workers. Which is a little bit unfair.
Honestly,
for those that are actually going through a lot. You have to be navigating in this hardship, going to work, paying a lot of money in terms of transportation.
Exactly, and then you have to wait 31 days before you get paid.
This is a day where you have to celebrate the workers, but I think you have to read through to know if he's really trying to downplay the efforts of the workers.
Very true. So keep yourself informed. All right, to the New Telegraph paper. U.S. reps propose bill limiting financial aid to Nigeria until terror attacks are addressed. That's the story there.
Well, for the US, they've also had a little bit of a tough stance, especially with regards to Nigeria. I think they also were threatening to close its embassies in Abuja as well, and some at least non-emergency workers, were asked to leave the country. So the US have had that kind of relationship with Nigeria. So for them threatening to limit financial aid to Nigeria until the terror attacks have been addressed, in a way, is also to keep the Nigerian government on its toes, try and address the situation in the country, the insecurity. And I really want to at least understand from that perspective, but at the end of the day, the governments have to at least, like we talked about, at least in one of the last papers we talked about was when the former president Olusegun Obasanjo was saying a government that cannot secure its citizens, the lives of its citizens, is actually should not even exist. You have to agree with those kind of statements, because the primary responsibility of governance is to secure the lives and properties of its citizens. So I can understand the US also pressuring the Nigerian government to help to curb this terrorism in the country. So them limiting financial aid, I think financial aid to an extent can also help to alleviate or help to solidify the defenses of the country. They are still partnering with the Nigerian military as well, but I don't know the effects that this aid withdrawal would actually have on Nigeria.
So do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's conclude with the Business Day newspaper. Take a few headlines available on the Business Day. Stagnant wages leave Nigerian workers trailing pears. I mean, that's what Glad was just addressing.
Salaries just remain but everything
the same.
Is increasing. It's really tough.
How are Nigerian workers supposed to be encouraged to keep working?
And there's an interesting way to put it. I think in 2015, thereabouts, the average Nigerian was earning the equivalent of about $500 to $700. But when you look at how the naira has been failing, the average Nigerian today earns the equivalent of about $100, which is ridiculous. Then you can afford a lot more. But with the prices of things increasing, how the naira has been failing, salaries remaining stagnant, being a worker in Nigeria is really, really difficult.
It's honestly difficult, but then you just have to survive and navigate. We're counting on the government to look into this. As we celebrate workers today, let's also consider all of these factors. The economy cannot be struggling to to survive, and then salaries remain the same. I mean, there should be some top up.
Of course.
As we're suffering with economic challenges, we're now still having to pay tax and some
And
other
the
things.
taxation, that's another policy where I feel like it's really not, is uncalled for.
Uncalled for, highly unnecessary. But then, do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details. We conclude with a headline here on the business day. Champion Breweries revenue surges to 69% as Bullet acquisition marks new growth phase. Now that's some business news right there. So do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of these and other stories. That concludes newspaper review today. My name is Barbie Mkparu, and I've been joined by
Glad Yakie,
my very interesting newspaper analyst, Glad. Thank you so much for joining me.
Really nice, a pleasure.
Thank you to our amazing viewers for watching. This is Niger Live TV.